He joins us on the Harbor One hotline this morning. Hello, Rob.
Oh, man, you are scratching right where I itch, Greg, because we need optimism. We're drafting kickers. We're drafting guards. The Bruins are losing. The Celtics are losing. There's only one thing to do, Wiggy. Come on, give one to me. Come on. One time.
McFarland!
Doesn't that make you feel good? Isn't that what Bergeron did at the table last night? He absolutely did.
Well, listen, I mean, there can be a little bit of optimism about this team because they continue to find ways to win these games. I think, last week we talked to you about how horrendous Chris Sale was, and Chris Sale actually provided the Red Sox a pretty good outing.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, when you go to the park now and you end the night with those weird lights flashing, which I don't know. I mean,
Curtis likes them.
I love it.
Courtney likes them.
Let's go around the room. Who likes them and who doesn't?
I like them.
Love it.
Love it.
Okay.
Coming to 2023, man.
Yeah, it makes it young, fresh.
Curtis is just walking in with a skateboard and the backward hat saying, "Hello, fellow kids."
Yeah, I'm always the coolest guy in every room.
Bradfo's a traditionalist. He's a Morse code guy. He wants the green monster Morse code.
I hate instant replay.
We should all be wearing suits to the game.
A tip of the chapeau to you, my friends. We won the game. But yeah, I remember the last time we talked, and we were like, Chris Sale has to figure this out, and sure enough, he figured this out. But this team is taking on a little bit of identity, which is, number one, you can actually win games and win games against a good team. I said this coming into this series against Toronto. I thought this was going to be an awesome, awesome test for them. They got waxed against Toronto last year, 16-3 against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays chirp a lot. I mean, they've been talking a lot. Go back a couple of years. These two teams don't like each other. And so to come out last night and have that win and leapfrog the Yankees, so they're all alone in last place in the American League East, and you're doing it with grit, guile, and guts, and with all these comeback. Yeah, it's why you figure out what the Celtics are and get through that run. I think it's a pretty good thing to turn your attention to.
Bradford, Verdugo's continued to impress, and he made a comment last night that piqued our interest, and was saying
I
that
got you, Perk.
he was saying that Alex Cora challenged him this offseason, and now he's seeing it pay off. Do you know what that challenge is? I mean, you're around these guys a lot. Just wondering if you have any insight there.
Yeah, the challenge was, don't worry about everyone saying you're going to be traded, and be better, get in better shape, be a better baseball player. And I think that the getting into better shape thing was a huge, huge deal. It doesn't look like much, but he's much more athletic than he was. And now he has some confidence. He's feeling himself. I think he's going to make the All-Star team. And when you look at the Mookie Betts trade, it's stupid to compare Alex Verdugo and Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is going to be a Hall of Fame player. I don't think Alex Verdugo is going to be that guy. But when you look, it makes it seem a whole lot better if you ever got Alex Verdugo to be an all-star player. And right now, I think he's absolutely an all-star player. So to answer your question, Cordy, I just think he had to get the noise out of his head and also just get in better shape.
Now, Bradford, you said grit and guts
guile
and
guts,
guile
yeah.
and all. Like it's the 3 G's there, right? Yeah. Can you sustain that for a whole season, and can that get you into the postseason, or do you really need to have somebody step up? And I'm mainly talking about your starting pitcher as the guy that has to go out there and take the ball every 5 days and be your best pitcher, or do you have to find if that guy is somewhere else and trade for him?
Yeah, I think that you can't just say, hey, we're the 2023 Red Sox, we tried really hard and we had some good moments, but we didn't make the playoffs. If you're in position to actually be good, say they come out, they win another series, they win the series against the big bad Blue Jays, very talented team. Now you're all of a sudden you're entrenched in this sort of race. I know it's only May, but you have to think differently once the trade deadline comes. And you are going to get guys back. You're going to get Trevor Story back. You're going to figure out yourself. You're going to your point, Wiggy, you're going to start figuring out, okay, who is at the top of the rotation, or you better. And then you go trade for guys. And if they're in it, if they're in it, the trade deadline will look completely different than it did last year. But if you're in this wishy-washy 500, it's going to look completely different because you're going to sell. They are not. I don't think they'll do what they did last year and be both sides of the fence. I think they have to prove to the front office that they're in it, that they're good enough. And right now, to be honest, I think they are.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do. I think that the guys who we came into this, Greg, saying we don't know what to make of this team. A lot of maybes. And what's happening now is we're starting to figure out the maybes. We're starting to figure out what Yoshida is. We're starting to figure out what Turner is. Obviously, Verdugo's a lot better than what we thought. And with a bullpen, you're starting to figure that out. The last thing is as we said on this show a million times, you have to start finding the guy in the rotation that's the guy that is going to stop a losing streak. That's the guy that's going to be the ace. And they don't have that yet, but, they at least have some potential for it.
Rob, but if they build a team without a rotation that's representative, and they don't contend, so then they don't add, isn't that sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we said about the potential flaw of this team, which is this rotation. You go back to 2015, the 5 aces, and how that was a disaster. There was a little element of that heading into this year, and it's a terrible way it's a really uncomfortable way to do things, as we've already seen this season. So you're right. I mean, if you do not find somebody in this group to step up, then you're going to be in trouble. Because I don't think that there's anyone in the minors who's going to step up. It comes back. It might come back to your guy, man. Like it might come back to Chris Sale. And every week we say this. Every week we're saying something different about him. I understand that.
I have a prediction, by the way, Rob. I think his next IL stint is going to be B-related.
Oh, well, that's better reason to wear the mask or whatever they call it, right?
Are you talking, Curtis, you got to be specific based on the news. Are you talking killer bees or murder hornets or just in general?
No, I'm not thinking like My Girl. I'm just thinking like a couple of, a hornet, not a murder hornet.
Okay, so no need to go out and buy like the thing where you spread smoke all over the place?
No, I would not be spending money like that. This roster needs more talent on the team, not for things
Well, they spend it all on the lights, so there's no room for the
and the penguins, but we can get to that later.
But yeah, so there you go. So there you go. You, in other words, you need Chris Sale to be good and avoid the bees, yes.
All right, Rob Bradford, it may not. Yes, what?
I just had one more question.
Okay.
Because you were talking about looking for that guy, and a lot of people think that guy could be Brayan Bello. I saw that he is listed as on the probable pitchers for Thursday. Are you surprised by that?
I think he's going to pitch, but anytime you have to implement the nail clippers twice in the middle of the game, you know that things aren't going your way. I mean, I would never want to, I don't care how much experience and schooling you have as a trainer, to go out and actually execute clipping people's nails in the middle of 30,000 people. Yeah. That seems like a bad thing, right?
How do you feel about people who are doing it in the workplace or like on an aeroplane? Is that a douche move?
Yes.
Yeah, I would classify that as yes.
Yeah,
and like the nail clippings are flying everywhere, like in your general direction.
People do that on a plane?
LB used to do it in the studio while the show was going
Ew.
on.
It's disgusting.
See, I'm a nail biter, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
I'm in fairness, you can auction them off for charity if you really.
You could get some good money for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bradfo, thank you. It may not be the Boston-Toronto game that we wanted this evening, but we'll take what we can get. Correct?
Hey, and stay tuned tomorrow. Could get really spicy with Verdugo and Alek Manoah on the mound. So nothing like some good back and forth, some potential bench clearing possibilities. So let's go.
We'll talk to you next week, Bradfo.
All right,
thank you. That is Rob Bradford from WEEI.com and the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, Odyssey Red Sox Insider.